everyone, LowPolyLevi here, back again with another video. I'm doing a bit of a different video today. I'm reviewing a game that is not retro, but its genre does take inspiration from two retro games that I have a soft spot for. I'm talking about Metroid and Castlevania, which come together to make the Metroidvania genre. The game I'm talking about today is the indie darling Dead Cells. I've been playing this game for a while, and it's very fun. I'm very excited to talk about this game, so let's just get right into it. This game does so many things right. Great lore, fluid controls, and pure eye candy graphics. And it gives you a great challenge too. This game also gives you hours and hours of playtime. Not only is there a ton of content, but the game also focuses on replayability. You see, no two runs are ever the same. Not only are the levels procedurally generated, but to get to the true ending, you have to replay the game about 6 times, and each run you beat leads to another harder difficulty you have to beat. The bosses are also amazingly designed. So with the introduction out of the way, let's jump into the specifics. This game looks really good. Good old pixel graphics with amazing lighting. The best comparison to how this game looks is the Donkey Kong Country games. It has that same pixelated 3D look. In my opinion, it looks really good. There's some great designs here too. Whether that be enemy, outfit, weapon, shield, boss, bow, key, or mutation, it just looks really cool. While on the topic of graphics, I want to bring up the amazing looking and hilarious animated trailers. They show the progression of the player through the character, with him starting out not knowing anything, progressively getting better and better till he becomes super powerful and serious, and then eventually retaining that power, but getting a lot more laid back. All of these are just very fun to watch. This game also runs at a very smooth frame rate, which makes the moves you can pull off that much more satisfying. It's like a knife through butter. It's purely incredible. Speaking of, next thing we're going to talk about is gameplay and moveset. Okay, where do I begin? How about the fact that this game controls like magic, or that killing enemies is so satisfying? Alright, first is control. You'll be able to learn all about the controls in no time. It is so simple, yet really intuitive. With the default Nintendo Switch Pro controller button binds, Y is your primary weapon, which you can hold to pull off your weapons combo. X is your secondary weapon, which you can use to either hold a shield, a bow, or another weapon. There's really no right or wrong way to do it, but usually you'll just have a bow or a shield. Next, A lets you roll, which you can hold A to chain rolls, which is good for speed. You can also just press it by an enemy whilst facing towards them to roll right behind them to flank them. For the last of the primary 4 face buttons, B, which is a jump. What's really fun is that you have a double jump, which offers for some fun platforming. After that is the left and right stick, and the D-pad. The D-pad and the left stick both control movement, while the right one can control the camera, or can be pressed in to detach your head from your body. Lastly are the 2 bumpers, which activate your skills, which mostly consists of turrets and grenades, but also includes a few other things. For example, the super cool one called Light Speed, which is like a really fast dash that you can use in midair or on the ground. And if you dash through an enemy, it will take a lot of damage. Now on to gameplay. Basically, you can go to different procedurally generated levels, and there are different paths that you can go on, so no 2 runs are really the same. There are also a lot of different weapons you can unlock, like my favorite, the Rapier. Its attack sponges are very fast, it does some pretty good damage, and the critical hit condition is probably one of the best out of all of them. There are also 3 different types of weapons and shields and stuff. Red, Brutality, which is usually the most well-rounded. Green, Survival, which is more focused on damage rather than speed. And Purple, Tactics, which usually has the best range. There are also scrolls that you can use to upgrade one of your colors, which subsequently upgrades your HP and your weapons of the same color. You can really build your synergy by having your whole loadout the same color and then keep upgrading the color of your loadout, leading you to be able to cut through enemies like butter, and bosses like slightly harder butter, or cheese I guess. Speaking of cheese, there are a couple of different food items you can get to heal yourself. You can customize your character's diet, so that you can have a bread diet, a cheese diet, Castlevania-esque, monster, and a couple others. Alright, let's move on to our final categories, bosses and lore. There are about 10 bosses, but you don't have to fight all the bosses in a run. But almost all of the bosses have their own lore. First, we have to talk about the overall lore. Basically, there's this nameless island where all the main characters live, and one day a disease spreads to the island called the malaise. It's very dangerous, not only killing its victims, but also turning them into deadly monsters, who can spread the malaise even more. The king of the island starts sending any carriers of the disease to prison and executing them, sending their corpses to the ossuary. Eventually, one of the king's loyal guardians, the giant, tries to talk to the king about the situation. As a response, the king stabs and kills the giant, throwing his body into the prison. Eventually, the malaise spreads to the king, and these scientist cultist guys called the apostates try to save him. They extract his spirit and turn it into a goopy blob called a homunculus, which is basically an artificial human. Though his spirit is now a physical being, he has lost his memories and his humanity. They plan on putting his new spirit into his old body, but the homunculus of the king eventually escapes and slinks to the prison, possessing the body of a decapitated prisoner. With his new body, he goes to destroy his actual body to break a time loop set by the timekeeper. Alright, let's talk about the lore of the bosses. The concierge was the warden of the prison. The timekeeper was an enchantress that continues to reset the flow of time on the island to try to keep the malaise from spreading to other parts of the world. The giant was one of the guardians of the king, who was killed by the king himself. The scarecrow was the royal gardener, the hand of the king was, of course, the hand of the king. The queen was obviously the queen, and the collector was the alchemist who tried to help the king with science instead of the occult. Whew, that was a lot. Let's get on to final thoughts and score. Dead Cells not only looks great, has great story and great gameplay, but also offers a great challenge which really takes you back to the retro days. It only really takes an hour to beat a run, but because of the challenge, you'll be playing for days till you beat your first run. Just like old NES games. They don't really take that long to beat, but because of the difficulty, it lasts a lot longer. Overall, I give Dead Cells a perfect 8 out of 8. This is going to start a new series, Replica Retro Reviews, reviewing games that capture the essence of retro games. In fact, I already have the next episode for the series in mind, but that won't be my next review. So, stay tuned. Hey guys, thanks for watching to the end. Sorry it took so long between uploads. I'm still getting used to this whole YouTube thing. I hope you liked the whole visual redesign. If you couldn't tell, I escaped from my Nintendo 64 cartridge and entered the real world, where I also got a better color palette for some reason. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye!